welcome to my YouTube channel if you haven't seen me before. Today I'd like to share a little bit of information with you about consciousness and levelling up. I'm not going to go too deep into what consciousness is because there have been books and books and books written about what consciousness is, and it's a question of perspective. But in reality, consciousness is everything. Everything is the Supreme Being, God, One, call it what you will, Holy Spirit, the ultimate intelligence, pure consciousness. Everything is made of consciousness, everything in creation. So why is it important to level up, to raise your consciousness? Well, I've spoken before about how life is a bit like moving through the floors of an apartment block. Let's say there's 15 floors and the third dimension is the third floor, and the two below that are just the car park. We move through these floors, through these rooms, we meet people, we have experiences that test us, and if we pass our tests, and if we clear out our emotional, mental baggage, we go up a level. We may bump into people in those different floors. We may go, as we've awoken our consciousness, through the 5th floor, the 6th floor, and higher as we become lighter and more enlightened, as the saying goes. But how do we do that? Well, we can do it by clearing out our subconscious mind of false beliefs, of fears, of judgments, of conditioning, of programming from teachers and school and parents and past previous lives, really, what we've gleaned from our ancestors as well. All of this stuff has an effect on our frequency and which floor of the apartment block we can live in. So when I say living in the apartment block, whatever floor you're on in your consciousness, it gets better and better and better until you get up to the higher levels. And let's say you're living in the penthouse, because you can see everything 360 all around you. You know what's going on. You're tuned into it on a higher frequency, and you're radiating a different frequency because of it. So by using the world around you as a mirror, which is the law of reflection, everything within you is reflected back to you. You project what's in you into the world around you by just making notes, simple notes every day of things you come across in your daily life. Maybe you come across somebody who was angry today, and maybe that bothered you because they were in front of you in line or something like that. Make a note of it. Think about anger. Is there some anger, suppressed or repressed anger in your system that the universe felt that it needed to show you that anger today? The same goes with anything else. You can, see racism in the world, and if it triggers you, if it bothers you, it makes you angry or upset, then there's something in your consciousness in one of these rooms in your apartment block on the journey that's linked into racism. And it may be that you've inherited it. It may be that you were the victim of it. There are lots of different reasons that this can be brought to your attention. So basically, life is about moving through, the equivalent of moving through into these higher levels of consciousness, other dimensional frequencies that are projected from us, the purer we get. So what happens then, the more of us that do this, the projection of the world around us, which isn't physically solid at all, it just appears that way because of our senses, it's actually like a holographic simulator of what we've got and what we've got en masse in our DNA, in our consciousness, in our energy field, in our hearts, in our minds, in our cell memory. It's all projected into the world around us. So if you think about going, as life moving up through these different layers in the apartment block to higher levels, purer levels, because you've dealt with certain things in your system and you've learned lessons and you go up more and more, every one of these floors is going to be different to the one below or the one above. Because as we raise our consciousness, what's being projected into the world around us as a mass consciousness of the bigger group of people, then that world around us changes for the better. Things are happening in the world around us that are changing things for the better. So this is why it's so important to level up. There are lots and lots of different ways of doing it, and I will, look into that. But last week, I will look into that on another video. Last week, I mentioned to people about the importance of using discernment. So today, I thought I'd show you a very quick and easy discernment exercise for you to practice so that you can use it yourself, whether it's in daily life on the physical level or whether it's in your astral travels or your meditations or your daydreams or your lucid dreaming or whatever else it is. If anything comes to you, you're going to have the ability to be able to decide if this is right for you or if it's not right for you. So the discernment exercise goes like this. First of all, you need to close your eyes. And I invite you to do this with me now. I'm going to do it. So close your eyes and take 5 or 6 nice deep breaths, breathing in through your nose, down into your fat belly. Let you breathe out, from your belly, not from your chest, and breathe in that air out. So, and 5 or 6 times. And then just relax. Keep your eyes closed because it changes your brainwave frequency if you open them. Now I'd like you to imagine that in your hand you've got a packet of cigarettes. And imagine holding that packet of cigarettes to your heart. And just simply, in your mind, ask your higher self, so saying higher self, I ask you to show me if these cigarettes are good for me. And notice I'm just saying, are they good for me? Not are they good or bad for me? We're looking for a single yes, no, true, false answer when we do this. So we're asking our higher self to use our physical body to give us a sign, are these cigarettes good for me? And then just wait for 10 seconds, maybe 20, and just see how your body feels. So ask the question in your mind. Now immediately with me, I felt my body and my heart wanted to pull backwards, away from them. You may have had some kind of sensation or feeling that was similar to that or different to that. Everyone's different. Every time I've taught this in my workshops, people have had different responses. Some people feel nausea, for example, as a sign. So imagine just throwing those cigarettes into the trash. I'm using 2 extremes here. Now imagine you picked up a glass of pure spring water and you're holding that glass of water to your heart. And we're asking the same question again. Higher self, use my physical body to show me if this spring water is good for me. And just wait. Now immediately I got a sensation of drink the water, like I was being guided to drink it. So that was a positive one. Again, you may have something different to that, and it's okay. We all get different things. We can do. So imagine putting the glass back down on the imaginary table. And try this at home, I recommend, on a daily basis, if you can, for 21 days. Within 21 days, your body will be programmed in to using that for anything else that you want to use it for. So you can ask it about people. Is this person good for me? Is this job good for me? Is, this journey good for me? Is this teacher the right person for me? You can use that discernment exercise and apply it to so many different things in your life. So it's something that's worth doing every day. You can even do it with your children or with your partner. Put some things in an envelope, maybe put words that represent something negative and something positive in envelopes, and hold the envelope so you can't see it. And hold it to your heart and ask the question, is this good for me? Your higher consciousness can see through the envelope. Your higher consciousness works on the level of feelings, of vibrational frequencies and oscillations of those frequencies. So it doesn't matter if it's not the physical thing. Like just using imaginary cigarette packet is good enough for your higher consciousness to be able to communicate with you and let you know, obviously, that cigarettes are not good for you. So it's something that's worth doing every day for 21 days if you can. 21 days is a program, a length of what it takes to program something into your subconscious mind. So that's how habits are programmed in. So removing habits, I always advise people to do the new habit or the corrective habit every day for 21 days to change the original habit from a negative one to a positive one. So that's just a really simple discernment exercise that by the time you've done it 21 times, your body and mind and spirit is already synced to working with that. Then literally you can be in a supermarket and you can pick up something in the supermarket and hold it to your heart and ask, without having to do the breathing exercise, is this good for me? And you'll get that response in your physical body. So it can come in really, really handy. Even if you're driving your car and you get to somewhere and you're not sure whether to go left or right, and you just ask higher self, do I need to go left? And see how you feel. Don't say left or right, because that's not a yes/no answer. So it's always, is this good for me, or do I need to go left? So if you're driving a car and you want some information on that level. So it's important that you keep the question you ask very simple, that it can be a yes or no answer. But this discernment exercise has been something I've been using for a long, long time, many years, and it's never let me down yet. So I highly recommend working with it. There are so many different people out there sharing information now about all sorts of things, from health to fitness. One person thinks this is good for you, the other person thinks it's not good for you. Every one of us is an individual, so what is good for one may not be good for the other. So this is why it's important for us to learn a technique when we can decide what is good for us with the help of our higher self, with the help of our higher guidance. And we can be feeding ourselves what we need rather than what the collective needs, because everybody's got different vibrational frequency, everyone's got different needs nutritionally. Obviously we need the basics of fruit and vegetables and nuts and seeds, but even that, after all these years of leveling up and the purification in my own body, my body finds it really difficult to break down nuts now. So I put them in a smoothie so that they're broken down in the smoothie maker. So I'm still getting the nutritional value, but my kidneys are not working overtime, trying to break down the nuts because they're very dense for my body now. And I haven't eaten meat for 17 years, 18 years coming up. And my body's obviously got lighter with all the work that I've done, and so is yours if you're working to level up yourself. So your dietary habits may change as you evolve. So being aware of that, something that was really good for you 5 years ago, your body might be saying, I don't want that anymore. And you can usually tell, with what you're eating, if you get swollen joints in your fingers or something after you eat, there's obviously something in the food that's not dealing with you. If you get gas after you eat, that's your body telling you whatever that's gone into it is toxic. People that are eating super healthy and giving their bodies what they need, they don't get a lot of gas problems, bloating and stuff like that, because the body's just happily eating the organic food, whatever that is. By organic I mean that it's grown. It's actually a living organism. Anything that grows, any food that grows is a living organism. That's what I mean by organic. Obviously organic as in grown organically is also important as well, but it's really difficult these days. Even though we think we're buying organic food, there are shops out there that have been lying about their food being organic. If how organic does it need to be? I mean, if it's grown in a greenhouse, for example, and they've used tap water to water it, is it organic, or is it covered in fluoride and all these other things that are put into the tap water? It's it's very difficult now, unless you grow your own food, and it's somewhere where you get in the rain. We have to use the tap water to water things. So even organic food's not 100% in that respect because of that. If it's grown in fields that are close to freeways and motorways, for example, the fumes from the cars are going to be blown into the field as well. So the food's going to be, tainted to some degree. But we can do the best we can. We can soak ordinary food, if you can't afford organic food, in baking soda and water to clean it, to clear a lot of it off, and then obviously rinse all that off. But it's not as easy to eat super healthy all the time as people think it is. But you can just do your best, guys. Even like following the 80-20 rule, which is like trying to be 80% super healthy and 20% you eat what you can. I used to struggle a lot when I was very strict with my diet, especially when I was traveling. Gas stations, really the only thing I could eat when I was traveling was a banana. Everything else was like processed packets of food, and mainly junk food when people are on the go, driving around the country in their car and things like that. So making packed lunches, being prepared on that level, instead of going to shop bought sandwiches and stuff like that, is going to make a difference. Not only is it going to save you money, but you're going to be eating healthier, because there's not that many organic restaurants around, or sandwich places or stuff like that. Even where I live, somebody said to me, oh, there's a cafe that's all greens and organic and so on and so forth. When I went to the cafe, yeah, they do boast their salad bowls and their smoothies and everything, but none of it was organic. So people are getting caught up in the they heard from somebody was selling organic food when it wasn't really organic, so now they believe that none of it's organic and they don't bother at all. Or I've asked in restaurants, is the food organic? And the answer I get is, well, it's local. Local doesn't mean organic. Local just means it's local within the certain radius of miles of where it's being sold. So ask questions, because it is so important what we're eating, what we're putting into our body. And you can tell yourself by how your body reacts to the food. If you're getting indigestion, if you're getting gas, there's obviously something on the food, even if it looks healthy, that is upsetting your system. But your food is super important, and doing the best you can with it. If you can grow your own vegetables, fantastic. If you can eat and afford organic, fantastic. But if you can't, there are things you can do to clean the pesticides and things off your food. I don't know if it cleans it off 100%, but food is one of the most important things when it comes to health. So it's something to look into. I've actually saved money by eating organic, believe it or not, because I tend to make food that is fresh. I buy fresh food every 2 or 3 days. And it actually is cheaper for me than what I was doing before, when I was, many years ago, when I was eating the nice stuff that's on the shelf, and a lot of it is in processed packages and stuff like that. So, it does make a massive difference. You might think when you're younger, you don't notice it, but once you get into your 40s, 50s, 60s, and definitely in your 70s and 80s, the food you've eaten over the last few decades is going to make a difference to your overall health, whether you're walking with a walking stick because you've got arthritis, which is linked into gluten and causes inflammation in the joints and things like that. So you might think it's no big deal when you're younger, but certainly as you age, you will start to notice that your body starts to break down, and you have more cellulite for the girls out there that don't want cellulite, and puffiness in your hands and around your jawline and your face from whatever you're eating. So it's really important, particularly later in life, but the damage is being done. It's like when you're younger you think you can get away with it, but the damage is still being done. It's not that we're getting away with it, we just don't notice it until we get into our 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s and so on. So that, coupled with emotional stuff that we are not clearing out of our system, and this is what leveling up is about. Leveling up is about clearing out your trauma, releasing false beliefs, letting go of old dogmas, eating as healthy as you can, and exercise, which is also very important. And you don't have to do massive amounts of exercise. You don't have to go to the gym every day for an hour. If you do 10, 15 minutes every day during the week and have the weekend off, that's enough. I do 15-minute exercise 5 days a week, and I walk the other days. I do like to walk a lot, but that 15 minutes of exercise, I'm really noticing a difference in the last year specifically in my overall, when I'm out walking with other people, that they're getting out of breath before I'm getting out of breath, and just things like that. And how, like today I went for a 4-hour walk today, non-stop, 4 hours walking. And it wasn't until I looked at the time, and I started at 11, it was 3 o'clock, like I've been walking for 4 hours and I still could have kept going and kept going. And that's just because of the little bit of exercise I do to get my body moving in the morning and stuff like that. So it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard to take care of yourself. It doesn't have to be too intense. It just needs to be regular and getting your body moving. Getting your body moving on a regular basis. If you're working at a desk, for example, as often as you can, get up, have a walk around the office or the building, go to the restroom, do what you need to do, but stretch your body. Being sat at a desk all day is really not good for anyone. So all of this is about taking care of you, using discernment, what you're putting into your body, getting regular exercise, eating as healthy as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect all the time. Life can be very boring if it's perfect. I know I've done the 100%, and it was really difficult just to be around ordinary people who wanted to go out for dinner for their birthdays, for example, and I couldn't eat the food because it wasn't organic. When I was 100% organic, I felt like I was missing out on life because I couldn't join in, and I didn't want to go along and sit and say I can't eat the food because it's not organic. If it's a dinner party, people will think you're being rude or disrespectful for them offering you food, so it did make life very difficult, and I stayed home for years and years and years because of it. So I'm a little bit less strict with myself now and try and live by the 80, 90, 80%, 20%, kind of 85, 90% some weeks. It depends. But you need to be happy as well. There's no point in forcing yourself to exercise and forcing yourself to, stop eating this and stop eating that, and you're miserable because of it. You're unhappy because of it, because being unhappy is damaging your cells, probably worse than, whatever it was you wanted to eat that you're denying yourself. So there has to be some give and take with it. There has to be what's right for you. And this is why the discernment exercise is important, because as you move through this journey, your dietary needs are going to change. My whole life, my growing up life with my parents, we had dairy. When I was back in the old days when I was at school, we used to get given a little glass bottle of cow's milk every morning after break. We were given half a pint of milk. And, you know, that was a lot of dairy every day. Now it's like, stay away from dairy because it's carcinogenic and, you know, what it can be, and all these other problems with it. And that I went through a stage in my, I've been on this path now for 20 years, just over. Probably the first, I would say 5 to 10 of that, I started to develop a sensitivity to dairy, having eaten it for, you know, 35, 40 years of my life. All of a sudden it started causing bloating sensations with me, and my body was not happy with it at all. So I stopped eating it for 5 years. But then again, that was, you know, the difficult when you're going out to restaurants. You'll be surprised how much food has got dairy or sugar in it. They're probably, you know, 2 of the main ingredients in a lot of things. So just being aware of, you are an individual. Your body needs are different to other people's body needs. And if you can get into practicing this discernment exercise, you can test every single piece of food as you're walking around the supermarket. If you do the exercise for 21 days, by the end of 21 days, you're just going to be able to pick up that food. And probably before you even get it to your heart, your higher self is going to say to you, that's not right for you. And see how it goes. Maybe you do need to go through a really strict patch just to level up and jump up to that, you know, that from the 5th dimension into the 6th dimension or the 7th dimension in the apartment block that I talk about. As we're going up, we're rising up and we're getting more and more enlightened and purer as we do that. So exercise, food, doesn't need to be really hard work. You know, let yourself have a treat every week, whatever that is. Don't be too hard on yourself. We're meant to have fun. And when we're putting too much on ourselves, too many restrictions and limitations, kind of takes the joy away of, sometimes you just want to sit down and have a piece of cake. And, you know, the joy that that's giving you is filling you with light. So have a think about what's right for you, to follow the crowd, be able to choose what's right for your body, what you're going through at this time. And you'll find that if you've got weight issues, your weight issues will start to level off as long as you've healed the trauma behind them. Most weight issues are linked into trauma of some kind as a child. And it could be something that sounds really simple, that was said to you before the age of 7 years old, that got hardwired in, because everything does before the age of 7. And somebody may have said to you, if you eat that, you're going to get fat. So your subconscious going, if I eat that, I'm going to get fat. I eat that, I'm going to get fat. I eat that, I'm going to get fat. Everything you're eating is putting fat on your body because there's a program running. Even if you're eating salad. Because it's not just about the salad, it's about the environment to the food, it's about your perspective on the food. Two people, I've always enjoyed pizzas. I'm going to put my hand up to it. I know it's junk food to some, but to others it tastes like paradise. So when I was eating it, I would always say, I'm never going to get fat as I ate the food. And I've never been on a diet in my life. I've never been overweight. I've fluctuated around about the perfect weight for my height because of my mental attitude towards food. Is, you know, when I'm going to eat it, it's going to fill me full of joy and not calories. And that's your intention. It makes a difference. If you eat it from a place of guilt, I shouldn't be eating this is going to make me fat. Guess what? You put guilt into your cell memory, which is damaging your DNA, and you're telling your body that this is going to make you fat. Your body is listening to you because you're the boss. You're the master of your machine. So your attitude to everything makes a difference, but especially food. It's not good to eat food when you're angry because you're putting anger into your food, for example. So this is why back in the day people would bless their food. Then, families would sit around the table together and they'd ask for the food to be blessed because it changes the frequency. So even simple things like that, asking one, God, source, whatever your belief systems are, to bless the food or bless the food before you eat it. Bless it all in your fridge. Ask for all the food in your home to be blessed. You're making a difference to the frequency of that food before you put that food into your body. So you're putting a higher frequency into your body because you've asked for it to be blessed. Okay guys, I hope that's been useful, and thanks for joining me. If you've got any subject matters that you would like me to chat about on YouTube, obviously to do with healing and so on, then please do leave a comment below, and remember to subscribe and click like, because the algorithms need it. Without the algorithms, nobody knows my videos are on here. So I would appreciate it if you don't mind doing that, guys, and feel free to share this with people. I'm trying to keep stuff more mainstream now, so it's not too weird for people to listen and learn. Don't need to be a spiritual person to learn a discernment exercise. It will come in handy in many different areas of your life. Okay, have a great evening, and those of you that are in my Patreon group, I will see you for the 8/8 portal at 12 p.m. or 11 p.m. I think it's it's 12 p.m. Sorry, 12 a.m. 12 p.m. is lunchtime. So it's lunchtime, 12 p.m. Pacific. That took a while to get out. So I'll see you in my Patreon channel. I may do another YouTube video between now and then, and hopefully I'll see you all again soon. So thanks for joining me. Thanks, Gina. Daisha, thanks, guys. It's nice to see you all out there. And I'll catch up with you again soon. Bye for now.